Thank you for watching QTV with the news. My name is SUMBWE. We take a look at our top stories. The Council of Churches in Zambia, CCZ, has rejected an invitation to appear before the Parliamentary Select Committee on the Constitution Amendment Bill number 10. President Edgar Lungu has fired 3 permanent secretaries in changes made at permanent secretary level. And the Federation of Free Trade Unions of Zambia, FFTUZ, has appealed to the Registrar of Societies to reconsider the decision to deregister the National Democratic Congress, NDC. And our details in our news. The Council of Churches in Zambia, CCZ, has rejected an invitation to appear before the Parliamentary Select Committee appointed to scrutinize the Constitution of Zambia Amendment Bill number 10 of 2019. The CCZ was supposed to appear before the committee on Monday, 2nd September 2019 at 14 hours. In a statement made available to Q News, CCZ General Secretary Father Emmanuel Chikoya says the Council will not make any submissions towards the Constitution of Zambia Amendment Bill, as doing so will appear as though they are giving legitimacy to the proposed controversial bill. Father Chikoya says it has been the view of the CCZ from inception that the whole bill has too many unfair, ambiguous and unidentified pieces that are not serving the interest of majority Zambians. He says the bill takes away the right of the people to chart their own destiny, and instead it is promoting the notion that Zambian politicians feel the right to govern is the right to change the constitution as it suits them. Father Chikoya says the CCZ therefore suggests that the best course of action is to withdraw Bill number 10 immediately and allow the country to continue with the current 2016 amendment of the Constitution. He states that a good constitution must never be one that is imposed on the people by force, but rather the people themselves must be involved in the formulation and promulgation of their constitution. He has stressed the importance of involving the people in the process of making changes to their constitution, stating that a constitution should reflect the people's ideals, values, interests, and aspirations. Father Chikoya notes that unless a number of points of concern that the CCZ has highlighted are considered, the enactment of the Constitution of Zambia Amendment Bill 2019 into law will not be serving the interest of the majority of Zambians. He adds that the Church have the obligation to ensure that a country's constitution is clear and easy to understand. President Edgar Lungu has made changes at permanent secretary level, which have seen 3 permanent secretaries not having their contracts renewed. The 3 are Paul Chanda at the Ministry of Mines, David Shamlenga, Livestock and Fisheries, and Brigadier General Imelda Chola at the Ministry of Energy. President Lungu has appointed Zambia Public Procurement Authority ZPPA Director General Dennis Chisenda as a new permanent secretary at the Ministry of National Development, Planning and promoted Labour Commissioner Chanda Kazia to the position of permanent secretary in the Ministry of Labour and Social Security. Binabi Mlenga has been transferred from the Ministry of Labour to the Ministry of Mines and Mineral Development, taking over from Paul Chanda, whose contract has not been renewed. President Lungu has also promoted Danny Bukali as the new permanent secretary for Western Province. Trevor Kaunda has been moved from Cabinet Office to the Ministry of Energy, taking over General Chola. Bishop Edward Chomba has been moved to the Ministry of Local Government, while Amos Mulupenga goes to the Ministry of Tourism and Arts. Mushuma Mlenga, who was at the Ministry of National Development Planning, goes to the Ministry of Commerce, taking over from Kayura Siame, who goes to the Ministry of Higher Education. Reverend Howard Sikwela has been taken to the Ministry of National Guidance and Religious Affairs, while Katonga Chifwepa moves to Cabinet Office. President Lungu has since congratulated those that have been promoted and transferred and wished God's blessings to those that are leaving the service. This is contained in a statement issued by Special Assistant to the President for Press and Public Relations, Isaac Chipampe. The People's Congress Party President Nelson Musoni says there is need for leaders in the SADC region to strongly speak out against xenophobia taking place in South Africa. And Mr. Musoni has called on government to either provide for the safe return of Zambians in South Africa or put measures in place to enhance their safety. He says government should urgently summon the South African High Commissioner to Zambia to get a briefing on the ongoing attacks on foreign nationals and offer guarantees and safe passage to the Zambian citizens who might be stranded in South Africa. Mr. Musoni says the silence by the SADC leadership, especially in the wake of the escalating violence in South Africa, is deeply worrying and questionable. Here's a report.
Violence as a result of nationals blaming foreigners for high employment rates breaks out sporadically in South Africa. The past recent days has seen latest incidences of xenophobia in South African city of Johannesburg. The situation has in Zambia sparked safety alerts from government, who had through the embassy in South Africa and the Minister of Transport and Communications warned citizens in that country to take caution, as well as urged truck and bus drivers to halt their travels to that country until the situation is safe. While the ruling Patriotic Front Secretary General Davis Mwila has written to his counterpart in that country. Political parties such as the All People's Congress Party and the People's Alliance for Change are among groupings that have condemned the xenophobic attacks and urged the Zambian government to ensure for safety of the citizens in that country.
We think that the role of government is to ensure that it secures the lives and property of the citizens. To this end, we urge this government to engage the South African government. We urge this government to summon the High Commissioner from South Africa to get the exactly position on what the government of South Africa is doing as regards to the welfare of Zambian citizens.
As the People's Alliance for Change, we would like to condemn strongly the xenophobic attacks that are happening in South Africa. I think the South African government need to do more to educate their people. To start with, when South Africa was going through the struggle during apartheid, it is all these African countries that came together to help them, gain independence in 1994. We are so disappointed with the behavior of some of the people that have, engaged, in these criminal activities.
Xenophobic attacks affects cross-border and regional trade, as bemoaned by Cross-Border Traders Association Secretary General Jacob Makambwe.
All right, what is happening in South Africa on attacks on the foreign nationals has got a very negative impact on the regional trade and even the movement of people that are doing trade between South Africa and that are coming from other countries. We would want to urge our members, cross-border traders, to be cautious, and I think also to a little bit suspend their businesses as a situation escalates in South Africa. We also want to urge the SADC that they should convene an emergency meeting to address these particular issues.
It is only hoped that stringent action will be taken and measures will be put in place to ensure that the lives of the foreigners in South Africa are protected and that the xenophobic attacks are brought to an end. Nakaonga reporting for QTV News in Lusaka.
4 people, among them 2 juveniles, have drowned on Mapula River after the canoe they were in capsized in Milenge district. Police spokesperson Esther Katongo says the incident happened yesterday, 2nd September 2019, around 16 hours. Mrs. Katongo explains that the 4 met their fate as they were crossing the Mapula River from Milenge to a fishing camp in the neighboring Democratic Republic of Congo, and it is suspected the canoe capsized due to overloading. She says all the bodies have since been retrieved. In another development, a 2-year-old boy of Msuzi area in Chief Mpamba's chiefdom in Londaza district has died after being hit by a motorbike near Msuzi Secondary School along the Londaza-Chipata Road. Mrs. Katongo says the accident, which claimed the life of the juvenile, occurred on 2nd September around 17 hours.
The victims have been identified as Patricia Mandela, aged 23, female juvenile Mwanza Safari, aged 4, male juvenile Mwape Safari, aged 3, and a female adult identified as Maria Peter, aged 25, all of Ndeni Village, Chief Sokondwe of Milenge District. The incident is reported to have happened when the victims were crossing the river from Milenge to a fishing camp in Congo DRC. Initial investigations have indicated that the canoe capsized due to overloading. In another development, a male juvenile aged 2 years died after he was involved in a road traffic accident which occurred on 2nd September 2019 after he was hit by a motorbike. The accident happened when the rider of the motorbike lost control due to inexperience and went to hit the pedestrian who was off the road.
The Opposition United Party for National Development, UPND, says the hunger situation in some parts of the country is a serious medical or health hazard with very devastating effects on those who are on therapeutic treatment such as TB, HIV, AIDS and diabetes, among other ailments. UPND Deputy Secretary General Gertrude Imenda says good food is as good as treatment. Speaking at a media briefing in Lusaka, Mrs. Imenda notes that in the absence of food and water, the drugs that are supposed to heal people will end up killing them. She has wondered what evidence government wants in order to declare the hunger situation in the country a national disaster. Mrs. Imenda has emphasized that hunger is an economic issue, stressing that if people do not have the means to buy food, they risk dying of hunger when help is not rendered in good time.
And it's high time the government paid attention to this problem. We have already mentioned from the beginning, our President, Hakainde Hichilema, had asked the government, please declare a national disaster. They ignore.
So that we save the lives of the people of this land.
Some even diplomats have also echoed, and other Zambians have echoed that, declare a national disaster, so that people can be saved, so that relief food can be donated from the international community to save our Zambians, the Zambian people, from dying. And that is our plea to the government. The government is not just for PF.
No.
It's for all Zambians. So whether the call comes from somebody from an opposition party, that we are representing the silent majority. We are here for checks and balances. We speak what we see. People come to us and they plead with us. So, government.
Speaking at the same briefing, UPND Lusaka Provincial Chairman Ovias Moliteta has expressed concern with the manner that government is denying that there is no hunger situation in the country to warrant the declaration of a national disaster when evidence is clear. Mr. Moliteta says there is no need to start defending the hunger situation in the country.
Just go to Chongwe, go to Rufunsi, go to Wangwa, go to Mpulungu. Yes. Mpulungu where the freedom scars come from. People, they are all crying the same cries which we are getting everywhere in Southern Province, Western Province. Even in Mpulungu, people are crying. This is a serious matter. Do not politicize it because it's about Zambian people. You are the ones who are presiding over the affairs of so many 17 Zambian people. Can you take this matter seriously? You are the ones who are politicizing hunger. It's not us. There is no way someone who is full can cry that is hungry when he has eaten. Why people are crying day in, day out is because they are all hungry. And this is a serious matter. And look, advise the president, for once on this situation, to address the country. What is happening now, if it remains quite like this, we might think as well that is not in control of this country. Because a listening father, a listening president would have had by now a press briefing to tell us what is the way forward with this situation we are in. It's not only hunger situation. Look at now the load shedding. We don't even know now how many hours we are being load shedded. We don't know what has caused Kariba to dry. Because this is not the first time we had a drought. We had a drought in years and years some time back. Kariba never dried, but this is the time it's drying up. Yet the river is flowing from Zambezi, from Nirunga, there is water, in Mongo there is water. But this water is not reaching Victoria Falls. It's not reaching Kariba. We want to know why this water is not reaching Kariba. Yeah.
The opposition party of National Unity, PNU, has noted with concern that chief politicking is standing in the way of reforms necessary to grow the economy. PNU President Haive Hamdudu says the economy is not as bad as some are putting it, but that it is only a question of government applying itself to making bold decisions. Mr. Hamdudu has taken note that the economy still has a lot of leverages for both recovery and dealing with the low liquidity. In an interview with Q News, Mr. Hamdudu says from where he sees things, it cannot be a big thing for the Zambian economy to raise $1 billion. He says the government can, for example, leverage on its shareholdings in the mines to raise the money to resolve the issue of liquidity.
I think we must just put our heads together and listen to each other and not want to get an advantage on every opportunity. The liquidity issue in this economy can be addressed. There are options. Many people have suggested, for example, we can leverage on our shareholding in the mines and raise the money. For this economy to raise $1 billion, it's not a big thing. You know what I'm saying? It's not a big thing. Of course, we will need the IMF will need it to also augment some of the efforts of government, because IMF basically is an international barometer. When it's not just about the money. When we eventually qualify for IMF, then we'll have sent the right message to the international, capital markets. We will have sent the right message to the investors. So eventually we need the IMF, but there are possibilities within our economy, to raise the money. And I think raising our own money must precede the IMF bailout. So the IMF can come, of course, along the way as we do our own domestic resource mobilization.
The Federation of Free Trade Unions of Zambia, FFTUZ, has called on the Registrar of Societies to revisit its decision to deregister the opposition National Democratic Congress. Last month, the Registrar of Societies cancelled the registration certificate of the NDC following a High Court ruling of 16 July 2019 in a matter where some members of the NDC took each other to court. But FFTUZ President Chingati Msiska feels the registrar did not follow the right procedure in deregistering the NDC. He has told QTV News that the registrar should have first warned the opposition party as opposed to rushing to deregister the party without following the constitution. Mr. Msiska says the move by the Registrar of Societies is sending a wrong signal to the international community that Zambia is not providing a favorable environment for the opposition. He states that while the union does not support opposition leaders insulting the president, the deregistration of the NDC is wrong, especially in a democratic country like Zambia.
In a democratic dispensation or nation, we needed to have a lot of these parties allowed, parties allowed to air their views and, of course, not insulting, but obviously playing the game to the rules of the game, because there are rules to any political party, there are rules to any institution that is operating in the nation. So I think to us that the registration of NDC, I think needed to be looked at, because we didn't agree, and we don't agree that it would have been deregistered. The better thing would have been done. Maybe they would have been forewarned that this is what was going to happen, other than just having a finality of the matter, as it were. So we want to appeal also through the Registrar of Society. Let's look at these matters critically, because we wouldn't want to have a situation where people now start condemning our political climate in the nation, that thinks that the opposition party are not favored, are not given platform to operate freely because of this the registration. If there is any registration to be done,
Government has assured the traveling public using the Kazungula pontoon in Kazungula district in Botswana that the facility is in working condition. Works and Supply Minister Sylvia Chalikosa's assurance comes in the wake of reports of congestion at the crossing point caused by truckers who are afraid of proceeding to South Africa in view of the xenophobic attacks on foreign nationals in that country. Mrs. Chalikosa says she is aware of a congestion at the crossing point, especially on the Zambian side, but that those willing to cross using the pontoon on either side are free to do so. Mrs. Chalikosa has therefore expressed hope that the security situation in South Africa will be resolved as soon as possible.
I have received reports of congestion at the crossing point, which has been caused by the truckers, and this has come as a result of the disturbing information of threats to the lives of the truck drivers who are non-South African, and they have been advised to park their trucks in safe places. Zambia is one of the safe countries where truckers can park. Equally, there is stoppage in clearing of trucks into Botswana by the Botswana immigration because they want to clear the congestion in that country before they can take on more trucks. So the congestion on the Zambian side is being attended to systematically. It's gradual, it's slow, but the trucks are able to cross over into Botswana. And we hope that this disturbing news that's coming from South Africa will be attended to in the shortest time possible.
The Association of Zambia Laws President Eddie Mitwa says he has not come across any provision in the laws rules that gives members power to impeach the association's president. In an interview with QTV News, Mr. Mitwa, however, states that if there are laws members that believe they have the backing of the law to have him removed from his position, they are free to do so. They are free to move a motion of impeachment. He says he has not lost sleep for fear of being impeached on the basis that Lars has challenged the constitutionality of the constitutional amendment bill in the Constitutional Court. Mr. Mitwa states that as of Tuesday, 3rd September 2019, he has not received any correspondence from any Lars member aggrieved by the said court action, neither has he seen any formal indication to have him impeached. He says if therefore there are some Lars members expressing their grievance in the media, he is left to wonder the motives of the airing such grievances in the media.
Let me just say that I am in office as president of LAS because the members themselves voted me in to serve them as their president for a limited period of time. And I have read the LAS rules and I have not seen any provision in the rules which give the members the power to impeach a president of LAS. But again, these are issues that if any member believes they have the backing of the law to do, they are entitled to move a motion to that effect. And LAS being a membership organization, the members themselves can make a decision on that. It is not something that I personally lose any sleep about. I serve LAS on a voluntary basis. I don't get paid for being LAS president. It is a service that I offer to the association and to the nation at large. So if the members feel that the
Government has warned that it will not allow illegal gold mining not only in Mulunga district of Northwestern Province, but in other places where there is gold. Mines Minister Richard Musukwa says government will ensure that security is intensified at gold rush sites. He has told QTV News that government will not allow a situation where gold mining becomes free for all. Mr. Musukwa says gold is a very critical resource that should be protected by the army for the benefit of the Zambian people.
And in our neighboring countries and elsewhere, this is a mineral that is protected, in fact, by armed forces. So we cannot allow a situation where people want to make it free for all. We would like to ensure that the resource is there to benefit, number one, the local people, number two, the entire Republic of Zambia. So what we have done is to ensure that our team made a preliminary assessment of the resource, and what we are doing now is to ensure that the area is safeguarded by security agencies and then a proper mine plan structured with various entities so that the resource can be able to be exploited in a sustainable manner and avoid now the recurrence of accidents which are happening as a result of people moving on site without being regulated by the law.
Government has downsized the digital migration project management team from 14 to 4 in line with the austerity measures being implemented. Information and Broadcasting Services Permanent Secretary Chanda Kasolo says of the 4, 2 are from his ministry, while the other 2 are from the Ministry of Housing and Infrastructure Development. Mr. Kasolo has told QTV News that instead of using 5 vehicles, the project team will now be using 2 vehicles. He says that the idea of downsizing the team is also meant to empower local engineers at provincial level in areas where digital migration infrastructure has been installed.
1 is a waste of time, 2 is a waste of money. So now the actual supervision is being done by engineers at base. So if something starts going wrong, maybe 2 or 3 days of construction, say, hey, this is wrong, start again. It's not much damage there. So that is a very good thing for us. I'm very proud that we've done this, and I even got a letter from the SC to say well done. So I'm glad we've done it. Of course, when you stop people from traveling and getting allowances, you get reaction, and some of them have taken their bags home and they think that they will not be part of this and all that. But no. 1, the project management team continues. I may make some changes because I like people to work diligently and as one. And those that are disruptive, I'm going to remove them out of the project management team. I like things to happen and happen well. And this digital migration project, so far, is a success.
Horizon Primary and Secondary School has refuted assertions that it has dubiously obtained an undocumented land lease of 90 years for its Lusaka premises. Horizon Education Trust Board Chairperson Leslie Mbula says the school has a land title of only 30 years. Mr. Mbula says this is according to the initial memorandum of understanding which the school signed with the Zambian government. He has, however, told journalists at an interaction meeting in Lusaka that the contract that was signed thereafter gives Horizon School a 99 years land lease. Mr. Mbula states that he does not therefore see why there is such a fuss over the school's land title.
When we signed this memorandum of understanding, initially, this land was for 30 years. They gave it to us for 30 years. And we signed that. Then later on, we signed a contract. And the contract gave us 99 years. Now, there's this discrepancy. But as you know, the memorandum of understanding has no legal punch, but the contract has. Now, I really don't know why we should fuss over this one, because the school is not going to be taken to Turkey. We're not going to give to this land and give it to Turkey. It will remain here. And this land, during the colonial time, was designated for educational facilities.
Zambians have been urged not to tolerate anymore the use of insulting language on President Edgar Lungu. Zambia DNA spokesperson Spooky Mlemo wants people in the country to realize that if someone insults the president, they too have in fact been insulted. Mr. Mlemo says it is therefore within each and every Zambian's right to guard the presidency from ridicule. He has told QTV News that Zambian DNA therefore stands in solidarity with Patriotic Front Secretary General Davis Miller, who has called for the protest against those insulting the head of state.
At the moment, the one who is occupying that office is President Edgar Lungu, who was given the mandate to govern by the Zambian people. Therefore, anyone who disrespects that office or the person occupying it insults and disrespects the collective intelligence of the Zambian people who put him in that office. In so saying, we stand in solidarity with the PF Secretary General, Honorable Davis Miller, for allowing the PF members countrywide to protest within the confines of the law to show their displeasure at the head of state being insulted by disgruntled elements with impunity. We think that it's within their democratic right to show their displeasure. We stand with the PFSG and we make no apologies for this, because to protect the head of state and shield the office of the president is in order. So those who are attacking the head of state and insulting him with impunity must bear the brunt and face the wrath of the law, or the members of the party, because they're insulting the party president of PF.
To end the news recap on stories making headlines. The Council of Churches in Zambia CCZ has rejected an invitation to appear before the Parliamentary Select Committee on the Constitution Amendment Bill number 10. President Edgar Lungu has fired 3 permanent secretaries in changes made at permanent secretary level. And the Federation of Free Trade Unions of Zambia, FFTUZ, has appealed to the Registrar of Societies to reconsider the decision to deregister the National Democratic Congress, NDC. On that note, we end the news. Pleasant viewing.